Browns holding their final day of practice here on Friday in Berea, getting ready to face the Bengals on Sunday. And let's just start with some good news. Denzel Ward is out of the concussion protocol. He will play on Sunday against the Bengals, and Mary Kay, obviously, we know how important he is to this matchup against Cincinnati.
He really is so vitally important. He's had some really nice games against Ja'Marr Chase. And, of course, Ja'Marr Chase has gotten his catches, especially in the last meeting, that victory by the Bengals last year, 23-10. He had a monster game that day. But for the most part, Denzel has done a really, really nice job against the Bengals and against Ja'Marr. He's got 3 interceptions against the Bengals in his 8 games. 2 touchdowns. You really need your lockdown corner in this game.
Yeah, like so many other players on this team, Ashley, there's just something about the Bengals that brings out the best in Denzel.
Yeah, I mean, I think that so many of his career highlights you think about happened when the Browns were playing the Bengals, especially that 99-yard pick six. So I think it's key. Plus the physicality that he can bring in that DB room for them is just huge, considering the different kinds of receivers Cincinnati has.
Now, some potentially bad news. We're keeping an eye on this. Juan Thornhill is questionable with a calf injury. Kevin Stefanski wouldn't tell us when he hurt the calf, but he missed his first practice on Wednesday, and then he was actually limited on Wednesday, missed practice on Thursday, missed practice again today. So Mary Kay, obviously not a great sign for him possibly playing in his first game as a Brown on Sunday.
No, but you know that Juan and the Browns will do everything they possibly can to get him on the field. You talked to Juan this week just about how excited he is about this defense, about this season. It will take a team of wild horses to hold him back from this game against Joe Burrow, who, of course, he's had some pretty good battles with Joe Burrow in AFC championship games, and he's going to want to be out there against these guys. He wants to make his Browns debut. So I think he's going to use every minute of the next 2 days to get ready for this game.
Yeah, and Ashley, he's not just a good player on the field. He's one of the emotional leaders off of it. I know you were asking Kevin today about the green sticker, and maybe it would have been Juan. We don't know for sure, but right now we don't know who it's going to be. So you're just missing a lot with Juan.
Yeah, we do know it's going to be a linebacker. I did ask Kevin Stefanski which linebacker, and he would not say. He said the starter. So there's a few options there, but yes, I agree. Like, Juan Thornhill has come in and just, I think, established himself as not just a big presence on the field and what he can do and how they can rotate those safeties now, but with his leadership ability. And we've been talking about it since he got here. I think when a player has been to multiple Super Bowls and you have a peer in your locker room telling you about what it takes to get there, it means something a little bit more.
Now, quickly on the Bengals side, Joe Burrow will play. Zach Taylor did confirm that today. All signs were pointing to that, but Mary Kay, obviously, with Joe out there, it just sort of amps things up. This is what we wanted, Deshaun versus Joe.
Yes, absolutely. And Joe comes in here just 2 days after signing the biggest contract in NFL history. He's now making $55 million a year. As I wrote yesterday, he's going to be in a really good mood for this game. He's not even going to remember that he has a calf injury. And, it's just going to be game on Sunday.
Yeah, again, Ashley, like Deshaun versus Joe, this is what we signed up for. We've been waiting since July 22nd at the Greenbrier for this.
Right, I mean, July 22nd feels like a year ago at this point. I can't even think how long ago was that? Like less than 2 months ago? It's crazy. It seems like it's been much, much longer, but I think this is finally, the first real look for me at Deshaun Watson, because we're seeing what this new offense looks like. It's not the preseason where things don't matter quite as much or in the same way. Things are a bit more vanilla from a game planning standpoint, and it's been a long, long time since we've gotten to see some football. That's the ultimate thing here, I guess.
Okay, so we have to talk about one more thing here, and that is Ja'Marr Chase giving us some bulletin board material, giving us some things to talk about. He was asked about that Browns-Bengals matchup. He said that he almost called the Browns the elves. He said Cleveland is Cleveland. And of course, Mary Kay, because he was nice enough to say this all on Thursday, we got to get to some reaction from guys today on Friday.
Yes, absolutely. And you know what? This week was just a little too quiet. Things were a little too low-key for the Battle of Ohio. So Ja'Marr, just threw some gas onto the fire, and here we go. And so, yes, we asked some guys about it today, and Myles Garrett, Myles always, comes through with the soundbite, right? He said, that was a little disrespectful, and the elves thing went a little too far.
Yeah, Ashley, and we just need this. And I'm sure, look, if the Browns kind of downplayed it a little bit, like Mary Kay said, Myles joked around, and some guys did talk about it, but we've been through this before. If the Browns win that game on Sunday, we're going to hear a lot about Jamar's comments.
We literally went through this exact same thing last year before that Halloween game against the Bengals. Of course, that was when they were coming in. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd went on that Pivot podcast and made the comments where they said Greg Newsome was an elite. And Greg even back then kind of tempered things before the game. And after the game, he goes out there and says we had to shut them up. So I think this team will talk if they get the win. We've seen it before, but I think it's actually really smart to not kind of fire back too hard at a comment like this. You don't want to give bulletin board material back. You want to hang that up, look at it for the next 2 days, get the win, and then you can talk.
Okay, well, we'll cover everything that happens between now and Sunday, and of course on Sunday, and whatever is said in those locker rooms after the game. We'll cover it all at cleveland.com/Browns.